We're gonna need my avatar for this. No, too colorful. Ah, perfect. I've had nightmares since I was a kid. They've only managed to get more detailed as I've aged. Some of the recent ones happened in different parts of my high school auditorium. I remember this one happening after they told me to set up the lights on the catwalk. I dreamt that I was back up there, looking down at the 800 seats in the audience. It felt like I was easily 100 feet up. Someone was always with me. The someone changed every night, but the person I saw next to me most often was usually the one I worried about most of the time. The night I remember in detail was the night I dreamt about. We stood up there together, finding some made-up dream way of configuring the spotlights, and at one point he just randomly stood up.
What's wrong?
I asked in garble language that couldn't really be understood. He stayed silent. There was no noise, none except me and the dream static that plays on my phone when I sleep. He was looking down at the ground. His eyes didn't seem as blue as I remembered them.
Why did it happen?
He asked.
Why did it happen to me?
I didn't actually hear anything that he said. I just knew what was being announced. It doesn't make sense, but dreams are weird that way. Why'd what happen? I questioned. He was sobbing. Slowly, a shadowy figure crept to the opposite end of the platform.
It was me, Zooey.
He said. It sounded like his voice, but the echo of it sounded like every voice I'd heard in my short lifetime. His eyes began changing colors. Brown, green, then back to blue. Brown, green, blue. The shadow inched forward. His figure almost made the grated floor sink beneath him. Held eye contact with me as he walked backwards on the catwalk. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. The shadow grabbed his shirt collar. Was crying without sound. The shadow tossed him off the side of the catwalk. My eyes watched his already lifeless body fall, and eventually it landed upon a pile of bodies that covered the floor. Every seat was filled. Everyone was lifeless, and everyone was dead. Except their eyes. All of their eyes looked up at me harshly in their seats.
It was me.
They all hissed. Friends, family, and everyone I remotely cared about all stared up at me with pale eyes, and their necks craned. When I looked back up, the shadow was standing in front of me. He grabs my shirt collar